Dr. Carl, a broad-shouldered man with sun-weathered skin, was undeterred. With a patient, disarming smile, he gestured toward the crates he had brought, containing samples of Earth's flora and fauna. This was the moment he had spent months preparing for, presenting Earth's biodiversity to the Council of Zoran, a sophisticated race known for their strength and devotion to logic. They were a warrior society, champions of survival of the fittest. Earth's ecosystem, in comparison, seemed primitive and soft. The aliens murmured among themselves as they scanned each animal, dismissing most as trivial. Beside Dr. Carl, a smaller, striped creature prowled around the edges of the platform, sniffing the air curiously. The Zoran delegation took one look at the animal and erupted in laughter, harsh, discordant sounds that bounced off the dome's metallic walls. "And what is this?" boomed one of the taller aliens, his tone thick with sarcasm. His imposing frame cast a long shadow across the platform as he gestured at the honey badger with a talon-like claw. The creature, entirely unbothered by the council's laughter, continued its inspection of the floor. "This," Dr. Carl replied with a knowing smile, "is Fury, a honey badger. He might look small and harmless, but I assure you, he is one of Earth's most resilient animals." The council leader, a figure with crystalline, reflective scales named Lord Varix, arched an eyeless brow. "Resilient," he sneered, folding his arms. "That creature is barely the size of my hand. On Zoran, it would last minutes before something would tear it apart." Several council members exchanged amused glances, while others barely hid their disdain for the human's presentation. Earth creatures, they concluded, lacked the size, power, or weaponry of their own wildlife, and the thought of this honey badger, this small, deceptively cute animal, surviving in the harsh wilderness of Zoran was laughable. But Dr. Carl stood firm. "Perhaps your ecosystem is different," he conceded diplomatically, "but I brought Fury here precisely because he represents a quality Earth values: determination. We've seen him fight off creatures many times his size. On Earth, he's known for his fearless nature, for taking on venomous snakes and even lions." An awkward silence followed, interrupted only by the soft hum of the dome's atmosphere generators. The council members were unmoved. Earth's resilience, they assumed, was nothing in comparison to their own society's endurance. They had conquered planets and ecosystems. They understood resilience in a way they believed Earthlings never could. One council member with purple-tinted scales stepped forward, his voice echoing with authority. "Earth's resilience," he began with a mocking emphasis, "is irrelevant here. We protect our society with creatures capable of defending, hunting, and eliminating threats efficiently. Surely you don't expect us to find value in this." He glanced down at Fury, who was now clawing at the floor with relentless enthusiasm. "Harmless curiosity." Dr. Carl hesitated for a moment. He had been prepared for skepticism, but not this complete dismissal. He observed the council, considering his next words carefully. Finally, he replied, "What you see as weakness is simply a different form of strength. I think Fury could prove his worth in ways that might surprise you." A ripple of laughter broke out, this time louder and more incredulous. Lord Varix stepped closer, looming over Dr. Carl and Fury. "Perhaps we should test your creature," he proposed, a sinister gleam crossing his reflective scales. "Release it into the wilderness. Let it face our predators, and we'll see if its strength can save it." For the first time, Dr. Carl felt a pang of concern. The wildlife of Zoran was known to be merciless. Fury, though relentless, was still an animal bred on Earth. But Carl saw something familiar in the way the council watched him, an arrogance rooted in dismissal, in a failure to see potential beyond their assumptions. He knew Fury's stubbornness, its primal resilience, and he felt a surge of determination to see it tested, even here on this harsh planet. "Very well," Dr. Carl replied, maintaining eye contact with Varix. "Let Fury roam your wilderness. But remember," he added with a slight grin, "whatever you think you know about resilience, he just might surprise you. Another murmur ran through the council. They had never encountered a human so steadfast, let alone one so adamant about such an unimpressive creature. Intrigued by the opportunity to see the honey badger prove, or disprove, its worth, Lord Varric motioned to a few of his subordinates. Prepare a tracking drone. Let the human watch as we discover how resilient this fury truly is. As the council prepared for the release, Dr. Carl knelt beside Fury, scratching him behind the ears. "All right, Fury," he murmured, half to himself. "Let's show them what resilience looks like." Fury's dark, beady eyes glanced up at him briefly, before he returned to pawing and sniffing the air, as if eager to face whatever lay ahead. Dr. Carl watched as the Zoran attendants prepared a transport pod to take Fury to the wilderness, the council's laughter still echoing around him. The council leader gave one last dismissive glance at Dr. Carl. "We'll see if your so-called strength measures up, human. But don't expect us to be impressed." Dr. Carl merely nodded, keeping his gaze steady. The council's derision would only make Fury's survival that much sweeter. The transport pod hovered above a sprawling Zoranian wilderness, its landscape vast and daunting. Alien foliage stretched like sinewy arms, reaching toward the sky, while hulking predator tracks scarred the ground below. Fury stood in the center of the pod, his small but muscular frame taut with alertness. His beady eyes scanned his surroundings, unaware of the alien drones recording his every move from above. The pod door slid open with a hiss, and Fury paused only a moment before bounding out, landing in the dense undergrowth. Inside the council chamber, Lord Varric and the other council members watched the monitor, their expressions a mix of amusement and skepticism. Dr. Carl stood nearby, his gaze fixed on the screen, his fists clenched in a silent hope for his intrepid companion. The Zoranians had chosen a notoriously hostile region known as the Vraxian Expanse, home to their most fearsome predators. Just as they expected, Fury's initial steps into the wilderness quickly attracted attention. A sleek, dark creature, nearly 4 times Fury's size, slinked through the shadows, eyeing the honey badger with the precise focus of a practiced hunter. Its fangs gleamed as it slunk forward, its muscles coiling in anticipation. Fury's nose twitched. He turned, facing the creature head-on, his body dropping low in a defensive stance. The predator bared its teeth and lunged, but Fury stood his ground, growling with a ferocity that belied his size. In a flash of fur and teeth, he clamped his jaws on the creature's snout, refusing to let go even as it thrashed and clawed at him. Blood smeared the ground, but Fury was relentless, his grip tightening until the predator, startled by the honey badger's sheer audacity, finally broke free and retreated. In the council chamber, Varric watched, his skepticism giving way to a glimmer of surprise. "The creature fights with more tenacity than I expected," he muttered. Dr. Carl allowed himself a small, satisfied smile. Fury isn't easily intimidated. Once he decides to stand his ground, he'll fight until the end. As Fury pressed on, he encountered more challenges. The Vraxian Expanse was teeming with bizarre predators, each one seemingly larger and more dangerous than the last. Yet each time, Fury's response was the same: a growl, a calculated advance, and an unyielding will that took even the most vicious creatures by surprise. His stocky frame twisted and leapt with an agility honed from countless encounters in Earth's savannas and deserts, where survival often depended on raw, unbreakable stubbornness. At one point, Fury encountered a venomous creature with a sleek, coiling body and luminescent scales. The council leaned forward intrigued. This predator, a Torvian ASP, was renowned for its paralyzing venom, capable of downing prey 10 times Fury's size. Dr. Carl felt his stomach tighten as the ASP lunged, its fangs sinking into Fury's foreleg. The council members exchanged smug looks. Surely this would be the end of the honey badger's defiance. But to their astonishment, Fury shook off the bite, staggering slightly before straightening, his eyes blazing. He growled, swatting the ASP with a heavy paw, then seized its tail in his jaws. thrashing it back and forth until it lay limp. Dr. Carl exhaled a breath he hadn't realized he'd been holding. Fury, as always, had defied the odds, his tolerance to venom and pain pushing him forward with a fearlessness that bordered on reckless. Lord Varric frowned, folding his arms. "This creature's persistence is unnatural," he muttered, though an undertone of respect colored his voice. Other council members nodded, their earlier scorn giving way to grudging admiration. Fury had endured far longer than they'd expected, displaying a level of resilience they had only seen in their own apex predators. His size, once a source of amusement, now seemed almost irrelevant as he continued to brave each encounter with the same unyielding defiance. As Fury ventured deeper into the wilderness, he approached a stream with crystal-clear water, kneeling down to drink. He appeared weary but undeterred, his fur matted with blood and dirt. The Zoran predators had taught him respect, but none had broken his spirit. Dr. Carl felt a surge of pride as he watched Fury's determined figure on the screen, knowing that his companion was proving to these aliens the strength born of Earth's unforgiving landscapes. The Council, meanwhile, watched in stunned silence. They had expected Fury's downfall to be swift, a brief spectacle to confirm their planet's superiority. Instead, he had survived encounter after encounter, teaching them an unexpected lesson in endurance and adaptability. This tiny creature, seemingly unremarkable, had faced down dangers even Zoran's most hardened predators would avoid. And in doing so, Fury was challenging the Zoranian assumption that strength could only be measured by size and ferocity. "Remarkable," one council member murmured, her voice almost reverent. But Lord Varric's eyes narrowed, unwilling to fully concede. "It is impressive," he admitted reluctantly, "but he has not yet met the true test of Zoran." Dr. Carl's brow furrowed. "And what exactly does that mean?" Varric turned to him, a steely resolve in his gaze. "You'll see soon enough, human. Let us see if your Earth creature can face the apex of our wilderness." The council members nodded in agreement, eager to put Fury to what they believed would be the ultimate test, a trial that would reveal the true limits of his resilience. As Fury continued through the wilderness, the alien drones hummed above, tracking his every move, and the council chamber buzzed with anticipation. Dr. Carl swallowed, keeping his gaze on the screen. Whatever the Zoranians had in store, he felt confident that Fury's spirit would rise to the challenge. In the stillness of the Vraxian expanse, Fury paused, looking out over the dark, shadowy landscape. His fur bristled slightly, as though sensing a new danger, but his resolve remained unbroken. For him, survival was instinctive, a constant battle where retreat was not an option. The Zoranian Council waited, their eyes glued to the screen, while Dr. Carl watched with a faint, hopeful smile. The wilderness was eerily silent as Fury moved through dense underbrush, his senses sharp and unrelenting. Despite the wounds and exhaustion settling into his muscles, he pressed forward, undeterred by the alien terrain. Above him, the Zoranian drones hovered, transmitting every moment of his journey back to the council chamber, where the alien leaders watched with growing astonishment. Lord Varric leaned forward, his expression a complex mix of intrigue and reluctance. This creature, this small, tenacious honey badger, had managed to survive far longer than any of them anticipated. And though they'd sent Fury deeper into the wilderness, toward regions where even Zoran's apex predators prowled, the little beast continued on undaunted. At a bend in the forest, Fury paused, his nose twitching as he picked up a new scent. The Zoranian's final test was near. Emerging from the shadows was the apex predator of the Vraxian expanse, a towering beast known as a Cavrix. With razor-sharp claws, scales that gleamed like polished obsidian, and jaws capable of crushing steel, the Cavrix ruled the expanse without contest. The council watched intently, anticipating Fury's end. The Cavrix let out a low growl, its predatory gaze locking onto Fury as it crept forward. Fury squared his shoulders, lowering himself into a defensive crouch. Despite the massive difference in size, He faced the beast with the same unflinching resolve he'd shown every other foe. In the council chamber, Dr. Carl's knuckles whitened as he clenched his hands together, his breath held in a tense silence that mirrored the Xoranian's rapt focus. The Cavrix lunged, its claws swiping with deadly precision. Fury dodged, agile despite his injuries, darting under its swipe and sinking his teeth into the beast's foreleg. The Cavrix roared, shaking its leg to dislodge him, but Fury held firm, his jaws locked like a vice. Blood matted his fur, but he seemed indifferent to the pain, focusing only on the immediate task, survival. In a frenzied effort to remove its attacker, the Cavrix slammed Fury against the ground, sending a tremor through the council chamber's viewing monitors. Yet, when the dust settled, Fury staggered back to his feet, shaking off the impact and fixing his gaze on the creature with renewed determination. Fury's spirit, hardened by Earth's own trials, seemed unbreakable. A murmur ran through the council members as they watched Fury's relentless resilience. One member, a female with silver scales named Sorella, turned to Lord Varix, her voice tinged with newfound respect. This earth creature, he possesses a will that rivals even our own fiercest warriors. Varix's expression remained unreadable, though his fingers tapped against the arm of his chair. He, too, had to admit the honey badger's persistence defied logic. Fury should have retreated, should have known better than to face a creature 10 times his size. Yet here he was, fearlessly confronting the Cavrix. Meanwhile, Fury circled the predator, his movements sharp and calculated. The Cavrix, infuriated by the honey badger's defiance, lashed out again, swiping with its claws. Fury dodged, leaping onto the creature's back with a vicious tenacity. His claws tore into its thick scales as he clung to the beast, refusing to yield. Dr. Carl's heart hammered in his chest. Fury was proving, moment by moment, the resilience of his kind. The honey badger had become more than a mere animal in this alien wilderness. He was a symbol of Earth's strength, a living testament to a different kind of power that transcended brute force. Here, on a planet that valued sheer size and ferocity, Fury's resilience was rewriting the Council's understanding of survival. The Cavrix, growing desperate, attempted to roll, hoping to crush Fury beneath its weight. But Fury, quick and unyielding, scrambled free just in time, landing on his feet with a low growl. His eyes blazed with a determination that made the council members shift uneasily in their seats. Lord Varix exhaled slowly, his earlier skepticism transforming into something closer to reverence. To face down certain death again and again. This creature is exceptional, he admitted, almost begrudgingly. His words were met with nods from the other council members, who now observed Fury not as a curiosity, but as a worthy rival in the Xoranian wilderness. Dr. Carl allowed himself a moment of relief, watching the council's awe grow. The Xoranians, who had once laughed at the thought of a cute earth animal surviving in their environment, were now captivated by Fury's indomitable spirit. With one final roar, the Cavrix made a desperate, all-out charge at Fury, but Fury held his ground. His growl rose, ferocious and unyielding, meeting the Cavrix's oncoming attack head-on. The Cavrix staggered, taken aback by the honey badger's brazen defiance, and in a moment of shock, it hesitated. Fury seized his chance, sinking his teeth into the creature's exposed neck, his grip unbreakable as the Cavrix let out a final, defeated roar before collapsing. An awed silence filled the council chamber. Fury, panting but victorious, stood atop the fallen Cavrix, a conqueror in his own right. The Xoranians watched in stunned reverence, the reality of Earth's unassuming creatures settling heavily upon them. Dr. Carl's heart swelled with pride. Fury had proven Earth's worth in the most undeniable way. His small companion had taken on the wilderness, faced Zoran's apex predator, and emerged victorious, not through brute strength, but through a kind of relentless courage that the Xoranians were beginning to recognize as its own form of power. Lord Varix rose from his seat, turning to Dr. Carl with a newfound respect. Your honey badger. He is a warrior, not unlike our own. I was wrong to doubt his resilience. Dr. Carl inclined his head, a quiet smile on his face. Fury's spirit is a reminder that strength comes in many forms, Lord Varix. Even the smallest creature can hold a power that demands respect. The council members murmured in agreement, casting admiring glances at Fury, who stood on the screen with his head held high. They had underestimated this creature and, by extension, the potential of Earth's life forms. In that moment, Fury had not only proven his own worth, but had shown the Zoranians a new understanding of resilience. As the council prepared to relay Fury's triumph to their people, Dr. Carl glanced at his steadfast companion on the screen, pride swelling in his chest. Fury had defied the odds and, in doing so, had forever changed the way the Zoranians viewed Earth's strength. The adventure, Dr. Carl realized, was far from over. The victory over the Caverns had left Fury exhausted but undeterred, a silhouette of rugged tenacity against the alien landscape. Above him, the Zoranian drones hovered, catching every moment as he continued through the Vraxian expanse. Within the council chamber, the members were no longer mere spectators. They were witnesses to something extraordinary. Fury, with his unyielding spirit, had defied all they thought they knew about Earth's soft creatures. Even Lord Varix watched in silence, his skepticism replaced with a profound respect. Yet, despite Fury's triumph, the Zoranians had one final trial in mind, a test that would determine, once and for all, whether this Earth creature was truly worthy of their highest honor. Dr. Carl sensed the council's intentions, noting the silent exchange of glances between them. When he addressed Lord Varix, his voice was calm but firm. "You've seen Fury's resilience and courage," he began, "but what more do you need to prove?" Varix turned to face Dr. Carl, his gaze solemn. "This creature has shown exceptional fortitude, yes. But the Zoranian way demands a final test, a confrontation with our planet's ultimate guardian." He paused, his tone reverent. The Vracar. A hushed murmur swept through the council members, the name alone stirring a sense of reverence and fear. The Vracar was a legendary creature, the apex of Zoran's evolutionary hierarchy, a colossal beast with hardened scales, venomous spines, and an intelligence that rivaled even the Zoranians themselves. To survive an encounter with the Vracar was unheard of, even among Zoran's fiercest warriors. Dr. Carl's pulse quickened, a flicker of worry evident. He had seen Fury's resilience against the odds, but the Vracar was unlike anything Fury had ever encountered, even on the harshest terrain Earth could offer. But when he looked at the screen, seeing Fury's scarred but unbroken form, he knew his companion would face whatever lay ahead with the same relentless courage. The council initiated the protocol, releasing a signal to attract the Vracar. A tremor rolled to the ground as the creature responded, moving through the shadows toward Fury's location. On the monitor, the screen displayed a heat map of the Vracar's approach, its immense form registering as a blinding surge of red. The council chamber fell silent, a mixture of awe and tension tightening the air. Fury sensed the vibrations long before he saw the creature. His fur bristled as he crouched low, his eyes sharp and unyielding. From the shadows, the Vracar emerged, a hulking, armored beast with eyes that glinted like molten metal. Its hide was a patchwork of scars and metallic scales, each plate etched by countless battles, and venomous spines protruded along its back, radiating a faint, ominous glow. With a deep, rumbling growl, the Vracar fixed its gaze on Fury, recognizing him as a challenger. The council watched in rapt attention, their expressions a mix of reverence and fear. To them, the Vracar was more than a beast. It was the ultimate symbol of Zoranian strength, the embodiment of their planet's harshest trials. And now Fury, the Earth creature they had once dismissed, was about to face it. The Vracar advanced, its steps deliberate, each one causing the ground to shudder. Fury remained poised, his muscles coiled as he tracked the creature's movements. When the Vracar lunged, its spines flaring, Fury dodged with lightning speed, darting beneath the creature's swipe and landing a quick, fierce bite on its leg. The Vrac-RA roared, more in surprise than pain, swiping again with deadly precision. Fury dodged, but one of the creature's spines grazed aside, leaving a searing burn along his fur. Inside the council chamber, Dr. Carl clenched his fists, his face tense as he watched Fury battle against overwhelming odds. He could feel the weight of the Zorianians' silent judgments, their belief that no Earth creature could survive a fight with the Vrac-RA. But he knew Fury's spirit, the fire that refused to be snuffed out, no matter the foe. The fight intensified as Fury leapt and twisted, evading the Vrac-RA's attacks with fierce agility. He darted in close, targeting the beast's vulnerable joints, biting and clawing with relentless precision. The Vrac-RA, though massive, was gradually showing signs of fatigue, its roars growing more desperate as Fury continued his unyielding assault. For every blow he took, Fury retaliated with double the ferocity, his eyes blazing with an unbreakable will. The council members began to murmur among themselves, marveling at Fury's resilience. They had never witnessed such relentless determination, not even among their own warriors. Sorella, the silver-scaled council member, leaned toward Varix, her voice tinged with awe. He fights as if he has nothing to lose, as if defeat is not an option. Varix nodded, his gaze fixed on the screen. This creature, he said quietly, almost reverently, has shown us a strength we did not understand before. Back on the screen, Fury faced the Vrac-RA's final, desperate onslaught. The beast, now enraged, unleashed a barrage of attacks, its spines flaring and venom dripping from its jaws. Fury took a deep breath, his body coiled like a spring. When the Vrac-RA lunged forward, Fury leapt, dodging under the creature's head and sinking his teeth into the base of its throat, his powerful jaws clamping down with unyielding force. The Vrac-RA thrashed, its strength faltering as Fury held his grip, refusing to relent. With one last, powerful shake, the beast attempted to dislodge him, but Fury's jaws remained locked, his resolve unbreakable. Slowly, the Vrac-RA's movements weakened, and with a final, shuddering breath, the colossal creature collapsed. A stunned silence filled the council chamber. Fury, bloodied but triumphant, stood over the fallen Vrac-RA, his chest heaving as he met the drone's gaze with unwavering pride. Dr. Carl allowed himself a deep breath, his heart swelling with pride for his fearless companion. Fury had not only survived, he had conquered. This small creature, once scoffed at and dismissed, had proven his worth beyond doubt, displaying a resilience that transcended anything the Zorianians had imagined. Lord Varix turned to Dr. Carl, his expression solemn yet respectful. Your creature has shown us a power we did not comprehend, a strength that goes beyond size or ferocity. We Zorianians believed we understood resilience, but Fury has shown us a new path. Dr. Carl inclined his head, his voice steady. Strength comes in many forms, Lord Varix. Fury has taught us all that true power often lies in the spirit, not the size. The council members nodded, humbled by the lesson Fury had imparted. As they prepared to honor the Earth creature, Dr. Carl watched the screen, knowing that Fury's legacy would forever change the Zorianian view of strength.